All right, piss and vinegar day, 46 shoulders and biceps, warming up with the shoulder press. So a few revelations today that I will get into, but for now, just doing the shoulder press. There was something with the shoulder press that was better or worse. I can't remember what it was. I think it was that my shoulder wasn't unstable today. Last week or Monday or whatever, last time I did a dumbbell press variation, my shoulder just like kind of gave out on the last rep, which was really annoying. But this time everything felt really good, no pain, no instability. That's what I realized. My dumbbell overhead press is 70 kilos in total, so 35 kilo dumbbells. Whereas my barbell overhead press is 60 kilos in total, which is, I don't know if that's normal or not. I feel like it's not, because ordinarily barbell movements are far stronger than dumbbell movements. Like, if someone bench presses, say 100 kilos, they're likely to only dumbbell press like 30 kilos. But for me, my dumbbell overhead press is stronger than my barbell movements. And I think the same with my bench press too now. So, yeah, don't know what's going on with the dumbbells. They're working really well with me. They're getting stronger than my barbells. So I did 35 for, I think, 6 or 7. I think it was 7. And then, yeah, I don't know. Let me, if anyone's watching, which is a pretty depressing thing to say, but if anyone's watching and does barbell and dumbbell movements, let me know if you feel stronger on dumbbell movements, because I don't know. I trained numerous people, and I've never met anyone who has a stronger dumbbell press than their barbell press variation. And I don't think historically it's been like that for me. I think historically my barbell press was stronger, but yeah, for whatever reason it is weaker now. So yeah, we'll see what happens. See if I can get my barbell press up. I think for me it's partially function. I think due to lack of function in the shoulder joint, I think barbells are less effective for me for whatever reason, whereas dumbbells, due to the freer range of motion, works more functional for my shoulders, and thus I can output more pressure, force into the dumbbell through my presses, whether it be a pec press or a shoulder press. Now I'm doing a drop set, so I back off about 10 kilos. I started doing kind of lighter drop sets to get more volume in, or time on attention. As you know, volume is simply just time on attention, whereas before I'd only drop like 5-6 kilos. Now I'm dropping a whole 10 kilo drop set for my presses. That way I can get, that's right, my fucking phone died, so didn't get to see that drop set. But anyway, moving on to side lateral raises. Same as ever, the side lateral variations stay exactly the same every single time, because this is what works best for me, is just these 3 single drop sets with the side laterals. None of the other variations really seem to work all that great for me, so this is what I'm doing from now on, really. I don't need to experiment. If it ain't broke, don't fix it, is my kind of idea on training. If something feels really good, there's no point adding all these other variations. You only want to add variations for one, really compound movements that you're trying to progressively overload consistently on, like presses, squats, etc. That way you have more variations to kind of deny the biological rule of accommodation, and that way you don't have to keep doing the same movements over and over and over and kind of getting bored of them. And then secondly, doing variations for movements that potentially could be upgraded, movements that aren't feeling as optimal as you'd like them to feel. Like, for me recently it was a cable row that I had to kind of try the V-bar row, and then I tried another variation until I found out that my new leverage machine that I built, if you guys have seen it, that is the optimal way of me doing a V-bar variation row. The cable wasn't that great, the barbell variation wasn't that great, but this leverage machine is excellent for it. So unless the movement doesn't feel 100% optimal, don't switch it out. This feels 100% optimal. I cannot think of anything else better than this variation for the side delts. So nothing is going to replace it unless I got some new machine or something. But as of right now, I don't have a side lateral machine, and I've never actually used one of those machines, but by the looks of them, they don't really look all that great anyway. The ones where you place your elbows on them rather than your hands, by trying to eliminate having to grip and just kind of getting closer to the resistance curve at your shoulder. But I don't know. I don't think I like the look of those ones. I mean, I have to try one day, but I don't. Obviously, I'm not going to buy one for a small home gym that I have. So that's side laterals, and then I do a unilateral side lateral raise. Again, the tongue twister. That is that. So this way I get 2 exercises for the side laterals, and honestly, I could probably be done with just the dumbbells. A lot of times I get done with the dumbbells and feel like I had a pretty fucking good stimulus from that. But just to be safer than sorry with the side delts, because they're so important for the physique, I just do this extra variation, slow and controlled, just to finish them off, I suppose. Because just on the off chance that those dumbbells don't quite cut it. Again, overkill is far more important than potentially underkilling something. And with exercise, you can't really tell unless you're doing it on like a long-term basis. Like if you just did, say, side lateral raises once a week, like I just did, and then did that for 6 months, and then experimented again by adding this variation on top of that for another 6 months, and then you started getting gains, well, you just wasted 6 months where you could have just overkilled it potentially and got those gains instead. So there's a threshold with high intensity training, a threshold of volume and intensity that you have to hit. And I think it's best to just go beyond that threshold and then over recover, essentially. So I just train my muscles once a week. Some people train their muscles every 5 days with high intensity. Other people that adhere to the Mike Mensa method might even go 9 to 10 days before they train again. That seems like overkill of recovery for me. So for me, I like to train my muscles once a week, frequency, every 7 days, and then just overkill it. That way, if I did overtrain, it doesn't matter because I'm resting quite long in between muscles. So yeah, I think at the end of the day, overkill to be safe than sorry, because otherwise you're gonna have to do a bunch of experimentation. That's gonna take time and effort, and there's so many different factors that go into gains that it may not even be what you think it is that is necessarily giving you these extra gains or not. So overkill is kind of the message here. And these side lateral raises have their own kind of feeling too. Like they're a little bit different to the dumbbells because it's cable, so the resistance curve is different. And I do these with a 5-second up and down tempo, just to kind of really crush the muscle, I suppose. I mean, I don't really know how to explain it. I don't even actually necessarily have a reason for these other than the idea of just overkilling it. So yeah, these are just simply a safety precaution as far as gains go. There are certain muscles where I feel like if I underkill it, that's fine. If they don't grow as fast, it doesn't matter. But side delts are extremely important to me, especially because I have very wide hips and not super wide shoulders. So in order to get that wide shoulder look, that impressive V-taper, I really need to get my side delts as big as physically possible on my frame. And then I move on to biceps. So the shoulders are done. Doing some sort of strict half cheat bicep curls here. So more of a strength variation, but a little bit better than the wall curl for hypertrophy, just because you can kind of lean into it back and forth and not have to worry about using your abs or anything. With the wall curl, I get a lot of abs and feel a lot more in my bicep tendon for whatever reason. I can't exactly explain it, but I find when I lean forward, lean back a little bit, I can contract my bicep a bit more efficiently, and I can lift more weight. It's the same weight as my wall curl, but I get more reps. So this is a bit better for hypertrophy, but still, it's still sort of more of like what would be considered for a bench press for the chest, for example, like a kind of a heavy compound movement to focus on strength. And then I do more of an isolation movement in like my concentration curl, of which is the next revelation I did today. So I do a drop set to get a bit more volume or time and attention. I always use that word volume, but realistically, we should get rid of the word volume and replace it with time and attention. That would put things a lot more in perspective for people, because people don't understand what volume truly is at the end of the day. You can calculate volume in many ways, but the most effective way of calculating volume is effective time under tension, meaningful time under tension, or time and attention taken to failure. And then, yeah, about to fail this drop set. The next thing is kind of a new interesting experiment I'm going to be running. You'll see in a second. I'm still going with these bicep curls. There we go. I think I fully failed there. No, doing fucking cheat reps. Now I failed. Cool. So this is a new experiment. So I'm going to be doing right arm, just straight sets to failure, and that's it. Nothing beyond failure work. And then my left arm, where my bicep is smaller, I'm going to be doing force reps beyond failure. So I do 5 to 7 reps, and then I do a shit ton of force reps. Realistically, this was a bit too light today because I got too many reps. The idea is you make it way too heavy for your strength level. This is 20 kilos, which is a little bit too light, I guess, because I ended up getting 6 or 7 reps here. Ideally, I would only get 2 or 3, and then I get the rest of the 10 reps because I'm doing sets of 8 to 12 typically here. I would get 2 reps, then I'd fail, and then I would force rep the rest and effectively give myself 10 max reps, or 10 reps to failure, essentially. Because it's like, as you can see here, I'm failing, and then I assist myself just only enough that I can get it up, like it's a 1 rep max of sorts. And then I also control the negative because you're stronger in the negative. So I'm doing this for my left arm only because my left arm is smaller than my right arm. So I wanted to use this experiment to see if this new type of training will give me any spectacular gains due to this incredible amount of failure work, essentially. It's just using every single motor neuron and muscle fiber for like numerous reps. And it is incredibly painful. Very, very painful. You're screaming at the end of this. If you guys have ever done force reps or force negatives, you know how it feels. And normally you only do force reps and force negatives for like 2 or 3 reps. You don't do it for a whole set. So that shit fucking kills. And I'm just going to do it with the left arm. And if by some chance it makes my left arm far bigger and evens out to my right arm, then I'll know that this experiment is working. So yeah, you got to make your exercise science consistent. And you can't. If I was to do both arms, it'd be impossible to really know if it was working excellent. I mean, obviously, my arms, if they grew really well, it'd be like, oh, cool, it's from that. No, not necessarily. It could just be the fact that now I'm bulking and my biceps are getting stronger from doing standard bicep curls. It could be a whole host of things making my arms bigger. But if I just do my left arm on its own, I don't know what the science word is for that, but there is some science word where when you put the parameters in such that you can kind of isolate and then figure out the reaction relative to that. I mean, I should know this because I did study exercise science. I can fully forgot what it was now, because exercise science is actually quite simple, so I don't have all the fancy scientific words in my vocabulary anymore. But essentially, you're isolating the experiment, and thus that way you can get a accurate depiction of whether or not it's working or not. So that's what I'm doing with my left and right bicep, in a very primitive way, because ordinarily with science, well, I mean, it depends. There's science in everything. Science is just logic. So anyway, that's the idea behind it. So I'll see if my left bicep can catch up to my right, and if so, well, then I've stumbled across something new, because I've never seen anyone else do what I just did. Reverse curls, talked over that, but reverse curls are not much to that. Just reverse curls to failure, drop set, another set to failure, bang. Now I'm finishing off with my rear delts. So this is for my rotator cuffs. So I do rear delts for my back day. If you're not doing this variation of rotator cuffs, you should be doing it. A lot of the time, physios will say, 4 sets of 20 reps, and you'll never adhere to that shit. And it's like, do 1 set in the morning, do 1 set at midday. It's always this stupid, like, asinine idea of training the rehabbed muscles like rotator cuffs or glute medius and minimus. These muscles that are more for function versus aesthetics, although they will help with your aesthetics, oftentimes are trained in a retarded manner. Train every single muscle in your body to failure. That way you only have to do 1 set once a week. You'll get it stronger, you'll get it bigger, and if it's a muscle required for function, even better, because without function, you injure, and then you can't train to get the muscles that are aesthetic. So train your rotator cuffs. It doesn't have to necessarily be this variation. I just prefer this variation personally because it's very easy to do, and numerous elite level bench presses use this. And the idea is 10% of your body weight for 10 reps, and then your rotator cuffs are pretty solid. 10% of your body, 20% of your body weight for 10 reps, and then your elite level. So I'm doing, I think 13% of my body weight here, because this is my body weight for 10 reps or something. I don't know. I think it was 7 reps. So I'm not even relatively elite yet with the rotator cuffs. But I'll get there. I get my rotator cuffs strong. I really need to, because I need to overcompensate for my loose ligaments. Doing a bit of flexing here, feeling good. All the carbohydrates and hydrations making me look more full. I need to be careful I don't go up too quick, because I've literally gained like 2 or 3 kilos in the last fucking 2 weeks. A lot of that's water weight, a lot of that's glycogen storage, but anything beyond that, and it's going to start being fat, because you can only gain, half a kilo of muscle a month, if that, when you're natural, especially when you're sort of an advanced natural as I am. So yeah, that's it for today. Good day. See you guys tomorrow for more Piss and Vinegar.